Hello, friends. My name is James Hopkins, and as always, I'm joined by my good friends Bryan Castiglione and Anthony Alessino, as well as my younger brother, Jack Hopkins. On this show, we're all about parlays, overs, unders, spreads, and money lines. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Parlay-Vous. What is up, friends, family? Welcome back to the Parlay-Vous podcast. Got Jack Hopkins. God bless you, you rude prick, dude.
Oh, sorry.
We've been sitting in the studio for 20 minutes and now you sneeze. We got Jack Hopkins
Can't believe you waited until then.
rudely interrupting us. We got Bryan Castiglione. You got your boy James Hopkins on the stick. So, last week we had some good football. We had some bad football. We had one game that was really fun that me and Bryan spoke about the other day. Be the San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah.
The Los Angeles Rams come back, win the game in regulation, avoid overtime. Hell of a play by who I am now considering the, hands down, there is no competition. I don't want to hear anything about it. In my 26 years of watching football, there's never been a more underrated, disrespected quarterback than Matthew Stafford. My man, I know I've been slobbing on him for the entirety of this podcast for all 4+ seasons that we've been doing it. I've been slobbering all over Matthew Stafford. So we're going to start the show today by stealing something that, you know, if you're a part of my take listener, you already heard this, you already saw this clip, whatever. Matt Stafford has 99 total career wins. How many of them required a comeback or a game-winning drive?
How big of the stat? Did you tell him this already?
I already saw the clip. You didn't see the clip, I'm guessing.
No.
Okay. How many of them do you think there are?
If it's 99 wins, and
99
how many of them
total
are
wins.
comeback wins?
How many of them? No. How many of them required go-ahead or comeback drives, game-winning drives in the fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter game-winning drives. Is it surprising?
Not to me,
No.
but yeah, it's a staggering number.
Like very staggering? 97.
No,
No.
not the. Come on, 97.
Not 97.
That would mean every game he won, he had to come back to win.
74.
No, 45.
I wouldn't. That's 50%.
That 50% of your
the
wins.
comeback wins.
I wouldn't
How
say
many of
that's
Patrick Mahomes'
staggering.
wins do you think are comeback wins?
How many wins does he have?
I don't know. I don't know the numbers
You know
on
what?
this, but it's probably close to 0.
Because you also have to remember, Jack, he was on the Lions for a bit.
10 years.
They were not a good team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mahomes definitely has around the same number of wins.
Right, but how many of them are comeback? Because the Chiefs are usually...
Don't you know the number? I thought you were asking me if I
not
knew the
for
number.
Mahomes. No, I'm looking it up right now.
I was gonna say, if you had that stat up for
One
me,
interesting stat that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now is Jaden Daniels in 3 career starts has 2 games where the team scored points on every drive. The offensive team scored points on it. 3 starts, 2 games so far. The Washington Commanders have scored points on every drive.
Well, they're running a college offense.
They have not needed to punt. It doesn't fucking matter what kind of offense they're running. They have not needed to punt at all. 2 out of the 3 starts Jaden Daniels has had. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Drew Brees combined 1,049 starts. Also have 2 games of that nature.
So, real
Combined.
quick, the numbers are comparable. So, Stafford had 99 wins.
Yeah.
Mahomes has 77 wins.
How many are come behind? I would say 20s, in the 20s.
Lower.
10s?
Yeah.
So,
It's close to 20. It's not like out of the realm.
it's like an 18, 19,
17.
17.
Yeah.
It's 17 out of 77.
Yeah.
That's not damn near 48% though, right?
Yeah, but he, in the quarter of the time, he has the most comparable stats.
Yeah, in a way.
I'm saying they're comparable. However,
It's impressive. It's
I
definitely
do think the
impressive.
point that Hawk is trying to make in him being underrated is that, I mean, and we've said it on the podcast at the time. Besides the Calvin Johnson time, the team around him and Calvin Johnson was terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. I don't think they averaged more than 4 or 5 wins a year.
He gave Golden Tate a career. He gave Nate Burleson a career.
He fueled the fire that was Megatron's career.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah, but Megatron probably would have been that guy regardless, but yes. So, we were speaking about, he was on the Lions, who were largely a dog shit team for the whole time. And what if he wasn't on the Lions? Like, what if he wasn't on the Lions for as long as he was on the Lions and this and this? So we were talking about what ifs and some of the best what ifs in football. So here are a few of the good ones. The one that everyone, especially in this area, likes to, well, it's two. What if Belichick never left the Giants? What if Belichick never left the Jets? Those are two big ones. Then the other big one for me, and you can fact check this on me if there's any information out there, but what if Bill Parcells would have just verbally committed to Peyton Manning that he was going to select him first overall in the 1996 draft? The way the story goes is that all Peyton and Archie wanted was a commitment, a guarantee that they were going first overall and they would come out of college, and the Jets held the number one overall pick in the 1996 NFL draft. And Parcells would not do it. Peyton Manning goes back to Tennessee for his senior year, winds up coming out the next year, getting drafted by Indianapolis. Do you know who the Jets selected first overall that year? Not remembered as a Jet.
Offensive or defensive player?
Offensive.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah.
Yo, fucking.
That was a good call.
One of three wide receivers selected first overall. Keyshawn Johnson gets drafted first overall. Now look, Parcells did turn the Jets around from 2-15 to like 9-8 or 9-7, and then 12-4 the next year or whatever it was. Keyshawn had 4 good years with the Jets, gets traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, one of only 4 players to be dealt for 2 or more first-round picks. The Jets did it twice. They traded him to Tampa Bay for 2 first-round picks.
And then the Jamal Adams trade.
The Jamal Adams was the other one. They trade him to Tampa Bay for 2 first-round picks. Tampa Bay... Keyshawn gets remembered as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl champion and as a Dallas Cowboy.
And those are the John Gruden.
The John
Bucks.
Gruden, Derek Brooks Bucks won the 2003 Super Bowl. While we're talking about the Jets making moves for players that don't get remembered as the Jets got 2 first-round picks in exchange for Keyshawn Johnson. One of them was Anthony Becht, tight end, who is remembered as a Jet. The other one, defensive end pass rusher, All-Pro, multiple-time All-Pro, probable Hall of Famer, not remembered as a Jet. Jonathan Abraham, remembered as an Atlanta Falcon. So that's one of them. But here is my opinion. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest NFL what-ifs that I could think of. And this is, we're going to get in the time machine. We're going to go all the way back to 2007, 2008, the end of the 07-08 season. What if Brett Favre never left Green Bay? Right? Because this is deeper, much deeper than a lot of people realize. This affects a lot of people. So Brett Favre was flirting with retirement. Rodgers had already been sitting in the wings for 5 or 6 years at this point. Packers are kind of like, hey, Brett, we got this kid. We're ready to get him in there. What are we going to do? This and that. Brett says, I'm retiring. Maybe I'm not going to retire. And then eventually Brett says, no, I want to keep playing. Brett Favre was traded to the New York Jets. The Jets then in turn trade Chad Pennington to the Miami Dolphins. Chad Pennington becomes one of the greatest reclamations, quote unquote, in modern NFL history. Going to the Dolphins, he wins Comeback Player of the Year. He has a very good season. I believe they might have made the playoffs that year. And Pennington gets remembered as the most accurate passer, not a good arm, a guy who got hurt a lot, who was probably plagued and cursed by playing for the Jets, but he still to this day has the NFL landmark for career passing percentage. Gets remembered as a very accurate player who was good, but not a crazy strong arm, had problems with injuries. He goes on and has a resurgence in Miami, where he probably would have been dead to rights in New York. Brett Favre comes over to the New York Jets. I believe they start 8-2-ish, on fire. Brett gets hurt. Jets finish like 8-8, 7-9, something like that. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers finally gets to start becoming Aaron Rodgers over in Green Bay. 2 short years later, 2010, they win a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers' lone Super Bowl in the NFL and as a Green Bay Packer. While this is all going on, the Detroit Lions are in the process of going over. Detroit Lions go 0-16 that year. The year before, they had just selected Calvin Johnson, 2nd overall. They go over, 0-16. They lock up the number 1 overall pick. Brings us to the 2009 NFL Draft. Lions got the number 1 overall pick. I'm pretty sure this is one of the rare situations where the pick was actually announced days before the draft. Because you could do that back in the day. You could sign the contract 24 hours before the draft started. Lions take Matt Stafford first overall. Jets move up from 19 to 5. I forgot. I think they gave up 19, like a future mid-rounder, and some players. Kenyon Coleman and a few other, like, fringe guys. Move up to number 5 overall to select Mark Sanchez. Then Josh Freeman winds up going 18th overall to the Tampa Bay Bucks. Josh Freeman, who knows what happens with him? It's like the less exciting what if of the entire conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if Brett never comes to the Jets, do the Jets suck enough to be in the conversation for Matt Stafford? What happens to Chad Pennington? What happens to Rodgers? Does Rodgers get sick of this shit and say he wants out, and he never actually starts a snap for Green Bay? All of these things all stem from Favre, who now has Parkinson's. Shout it out.
Really?
Yeah, as of yet, he announced it. He announced it yesterday. All of these things stem from Brett Favre coming to the New York Jets and leaving Green Bay. Had he just retired, it leaves Rodgers out of it. But then we have the whole slew of questions with Pennington and the rest of the 09 rookie class. I think it's one of the more interesting things in the last 20 years or so. That's a big ripple effect in the league. Because what if Stafford? Now this is a big if, because all of these things don't make the Lions suck any less. The Lions probably still aren't winning a game that year with, I believe, Sean. What's that idiot's name who played quarterback?
I was
going to say Sean King, but Sean King is that political guy.
I couldn't even tell you who their quarterback was at that point.
Probably isn't going to stop the Lions from sucking any less. They're probably still going 0-16, 1-15 if you play that season over a million times. But in an alternate reality psycho universe where the Jets somehow would have wound up with Matt Stafford instead of Mark Sanchez, do we have 2 Super Bowl rings? 2009 and 2010? If young Matt Stafford is playing on that team instead of Mark Sanchez and everything else is the same in a vacuum.
Did Sanchez do that thing where he separated his shoulder early in his career?
No.
No?
No.
I do think you can make that argument because even Sanchez got you guys to the divisional.
And 3rd and 4 or worse, and we're not converting.
And beat the Patriots.
In 2010, yeah.
And at that time,
one of my favorite Jets games of my life.
And at that time, beating the Patriots in 2010 was not a fucking joke.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they were significant underdogs.
To say 2 Super Bowls, I think would be maybe a stretch. 1, maybe not. If Matt Stafford had the defense that the Jets have consistently had, I think his career trajectory would have been way different. Because imagine if he didn't have to game-win drive 45 games. If he didn't have to march down the field. If he wasn't under the pressure of having to score on every single drive because your defense is going to give something out, like, almost every time. I think it would be interesting. But I think the only problem with the theory that the Jets would wind up with Stafford were the Jets also going to go 0-16?
No, that's the thing. It's like
a trade for it.
It's a definite crazy alternate universe where this happens, because the 0-16 Lions, they were bad that year. They were as bad as the Jets, and even adding Megatron didn't make it any better. They were worse that year than they were the following year, the previous year in 2007. But if Brett doesn't show up, they probably don't start 6-1 or whatever they started at. They probably don't even flirt with the playoffs, and they're not moving up from 19 to begin with to get all the way up to 5 to draft Mark Sanchez. So you can make. Look, getting to number 1, Stafford was going number 1. One of those rare NFL draft situations where week 1 of the season Stafford was going 1. And night of the draft, Stafford was going 1. There was never any, and that's a weak quarterback class. When it's Stafford, great Hall of Famer, Sanchez, Josh Freeman.
I don't. Did Josh Freeman make it out of his rookie contract? I think
he did.
But I think he kind of just bounced around as a backup.
He played for the Bucks, and then he bounced around after that.
Right, because
he was in Minnesota for a little bit.
I remember there was always some hidden hype around him where they're like, he just needs a chance, and he never really looked great. Honestly. But he was kind of if I remember correctly, he was kind of the first of the mobile quarterbacks. Not completely mobile like how it is now, but
he was when it was almost a detriment to your playing style. He was probably 10 years before his time. He comes out in 2019, he's probably
That's how I feel about RG3, I'm not going to lie to you. I think it's the same situation.
Yes and no. with RG3, because my argument with RG3 was always the injury thing, and
Right.
the injury thing probably would have happened no matter what era he came out in. And another argument I made about RG3 is like maybe guys would have figured him out. Like we never had time to see if he would have gotten figured out. Because
Yeah.
if you remember watching that Washington offense, Freddie Morris and that Shanahan offense, when Shanahan was taking any fucking running back and getting 1,000 yards a year with them, and it was just no one was running read options and RPO. I mean, maybe RPO-ish.
Yeah, that hasn't
And
really been until recently.
The zone read stuff, the read option stuff, and I don't know if they were actual RPOs back then, but Freddie Morris would just get 7, 7, 6, 7. RG3 pulls it and takes off for 15. We stick it in Freddie Morris's gut, we pull it out, and we're playing fucking catch with Jordan Reed, dude.
Right.
Catch. No one's anywhere near him.
Yeah.
So we never got to see if RG3 could make consistent tight window throws because the injury happened before they could catch up to the offense. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, RG3 definitely, but he was also went number 2 overall in his draft, you know? So
Right.
he wasn't getting discounted for his style of play back then as much as it would have been another 10 years before or 5 years before that even. But yeah, it's very the rise of like the spread offense and the read option and all of this stuff really started with Colin Kaepernick.
And Chip Kelly coming over, even though he really didn't
Yeah,
put
but-
his mark on it, but that was like, it felt like when he came over, that was the way things were going to start moving a little
And-
bit. Like,
Yeah, but he ran that offense with fucking Sam Bradford and Nick Foles. Like he wasn't even running that offense
Right.
with mobile guys, so
Yeah.
to speak. But like the idea of like running these zone reads and everything out of the shotgun and running like a college-based offense, the first guy that they really did that full blown was Harbaugh with Colin Kaepernick. Because I said it then, I'll say it now. I feel the same way about Jalen Hurts. I was saying this on Sunday, Dallas. You know, Jalen Hurts is Tim Tebow. Jalen Hurts is Tim Tebow if they would have let Tim Tebow play that style of offense back then. Colin Kaepernick was Tim Tebow. Colin Kaepernick was exactly what Tim Tebow would have been if they let Tim Tebow play in that kind of an offense.
right.
Colin Kaepernick a little bit more accurate. Jalen Hurts a little bit more accurate. I get it. People are going to think I'm crazy because you see all these low light clips of Tebow can't throw a football. If you would have let Tim Tebow, big, strong quarterback who can get on the perimeter with a relatively deep arm who can put it there. If Tim Tebow was allowed to play in the style of offense that Colin Kaepernick was allowed to play in, Tim Tebow would have also went to several Pro Bowls. That's my opinion.
No, I get it. It is interesting when you think back, because there were a lot of guys like that where they were kind of, like you were saying, ahead of their time as far as like scheme goes and like how the modern NFL is now. Like back then, it was running backs were a commodity. Now we're run 2 and 3 guy committees, and it doesn't really matter. We're only going to use the guy that's best for the situation that we're in right there. But early 2000s, late 90s, like you were saying, 1,000-yard seasons. We're establishing the run game. We're trying to control the momentum.
It feels like 1,000-yard season is almost like just on the ground, not combined. It's almost crazy these days. 1,000 wasn't even the benchmark when we were growing up.
No.
1,200 was the benchmark.
Right.
Like you got to get to 1,200 plus just on the ground to be considered a top 5, top 10 back. People were churning out 1,000-yard seasons left and right, but that's also, I'm going to touch the ball 32 times a game,
Right.
and fucking my career might be 5 years long. That's part of the running back position. It always has been. Let me drop a name on you. You might not even know. You definitely don't know. Following this whole thing about guys who came too late. The name Troy Smith mean anything to you?
It sounds familiar.
Troy Smith, Ohio State quarterback, about 2000, I think 6. I think it was the 06 draft, I believe.
Okay.
Troy Smith, Ohio State, Heisman winning quarterback, little undersized. I don't want to speak out of class, but I think he was around 6'1", under 200 pounds. Runner, mobile, dual threat, won a Heisman, strong enough arm. That kind of guy, what does that sound like to you? If that kind of guy was coming out of the draft this year,
Is it supposed to be
6'1",
that?
6'1", 190 pounds, Heisman winner, dual threat quarterback.
You know who it sounds like.
Yeah, I know who.
No,
it sounds.
where do they go?
In the top 5.
If they Troy Smith, 6th round draft pick, never started a game in the NFL.
Really? I was gonna say it sounds like Bryce Young. What you're saying.
Yeah,
far
I
as
wasn't
measurements and all that
I
goes.
wasn't even going Bryce Young. Bryce Young's smaller than that, but yeah, crazy. Yeah, Troy Smith, you could win a Heisman as a fucking quarterback and not even get a second thought. in the draft, and this is only 15 years ago. I mean, I guess almost 20 years ago now we're talking about.
Yeah.
So the way the game has changed in terms of that is crazy. Which brings me to another point we just talked about already. Jaden Daniels is the real fucking deal.
Yeah.
Jaden
no,
Daniels.
he seems very good. And we kind of said that in the beginning of the year, though, during a futures. I think we posed the question of who out of the rookies do we think will be the best. I know I said Jaden. Like I said, limited knowledge on QBs, but it always feels like every year in the draft there's about 4 or 5 quarterbacks. The guy that goes number 1 overall in the position, I feel like doesn't pan out as well as the guys that go later. It always feels like that. Plus, if I remember correctly, I think Jaden, and I'm kind of just talking shit here, but I think Jaden was the only one out of the rookie quarterbacks that was actually running a pro-style offense in college, isn't that? Or am I wrong there?
Trying to think. I mean, Penix.
Yeah,
But
true.
Penix is an afterthought, though, because Penix isn't playing. Penix looks like the best rookie quarterback because he hasn't made any mistakes yet. Because
Right.
he gets to sit behind Kirk for a year or two, Kirk O'Chains, and fucking he'll take over when he's 26, and he's going to look great when he comes in.
Yeah,
I
no,
guarantee it.
I like that the Falcons are adopting the Green Bay Packers approach on quarterbacks. So I think that's important. And like we said a million times, Zach Wilson is the perfect example of just rushing them out. I don't think that really works, especially if they talk about it all the time. Game speed's different, timing's different. Everyone that you versus people in college, you've had stars in each position here. It's the same in the NFL, but now the stars in the NFL stand out much higher than everybody else.
And we went over this last week, so I'll just give it to you quickly.
Yeah.
So I guess this is week 2 that this happened. He threw an interception. Caleb, we're talking about.
Mm.
He threw an interception, and if you watch live the game footage, it looks like he just hucked one into triple coverage.
Right.
And then you watch the all 22 or the end zone angle, and when he throws the ball, it's like triple coverage ish.
Right.
You watch it from that angle, it's the worst case scenario is a caught ball at USC, if not a touchdown. It's probably going for a touchdown at USC.
Right.
He throws the ball, the safety fucking drives,
Yep.
and the corner drives, and either one of them could have picked the ball off. The safety wound up getting it, but by the time the ball got to the catch point, it looked like a terrible throw. But if you watch it at USC, that throw is going the distance, and all of Caleb's mistakes would have been successful plays at USC, which is why I was so low on him coming out. Because like you said, in college, some guys are really fast.
Yeah.
Everyone's really fast in the NFL.
Yeah.
You throw a ball that a safety's never... The safety for fucking UCLA is never getting there. Guess what? The safety for the Philadelphia Eagles is.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot of Caleb's problems. It's his footwork. It's his irrational confidence. It's his...
It's also what it seems like, 'cause it's popping around Twitter. They were asking questions to the O-line. It does seem like the O-line is not happy with how long he's holding the ball.
Mhm.
Which makes perfect sense. You're putting your guys in a bad position, and even if you get down the field after doing that for so long, you get to the red zone and they're fucking dogging at that point because they've been fucking moving for 5-6 minutes straight, getting their asses kicked. So, and I kind of get it. The Bears are trying to the line, the guy that they were interviewing, I'm forgetting his name, but he was kind of trying to nicely be like, we can only block for so long.
Mhm.
It's not going to work like that. But
You simply cannot run around for your life like you're still playing college ball or high school ball, rather.
No, 'cause they're
and
gonna
you're
catch you.
easily the best athlete on the field. It's not going to work like that in the NFL. And this is the other thing too that I said with Caleb Williams. I said this last week. You're coming out of fucking the Pac-12. You're largely playing against used car salesmen and insurance salesmen and fucking life insurance brokers and guys who might be fucking project managers and shit.
right.
You're playing against 53 guys that got families to feed by playing football, dog.
Yeah.
This ain't college. This ain't some guy that's just happy to fucking be there and date the ugliest cheerleader.
Yeah.
This is the real deal Holyfield out here. Still, so, down on Caleb Williams, up on Jaden Daniels, slight arrow up on Bo Nix this week, although I'm overall not super impressed with his play.
I'm glad he bounced back.
Just in time to get his dick kicked in this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think his passing didn't look bad. It's just the decision making that it just didn't make sense. But luckily, with those type of things, it's often, I feel like, a timing issue. It seems like the tangibles are there. He can get the ball there. He can throw it far. He can move if he has to. But maybe his timing's off. We're not doing things as quick as we should be. Plus, outside of Cortland Sutton, who else is catching the ball on this offense? I don't know who their number 2 receiver is. Do you?
Marvin Mims.
Okay. I mean, that is
Marvin
what it is.
Mims, Noah Fant.
Yeah, but they
got a lot of running backs.
No,
with
Noah
weird.
Fant is on
Seattle. You're right.
Yeah, it's
they cut Tim Patrick,
Yes, they did cut Tim
Tim
Patrick.
Patrick weeks ago.
and they cut another guy who
They traded Judy. They cut Tim Patrick weeks ago.
another long-term receiver for them.
They got all these running backs with weird jersey numbers, like McLaughlin's 38, and the other guy is fucking Javante's 32. But there's another guy that's like a weird number.
Tyler Batty. I don't know his number.
Yeah, they got all these weird running backs.
They're a three-back committee anyway, so.
Really 4 with Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had something at the tip of my brain that I wanted to bring up.
That the Broncos shouldn't have cut Tim Patrick. I feel bad for Tim Patrick, but
I don't.
I mean, torn ACL, LCL, MCL. Kind of not great.
So
2
you
years in a row.
blow your knee up. Yeah, and who's the other guy that just got fucked up? Cornerback. 3rd straight season-ending injury.
I don't know.
He had
That sucks.
I forgot who it was. He had
J.C. Horn.
not J.C. Horn. No, it's an older gentleman. I forget who he is, but he had an ACL, then an Achilles, and then this year I think he had a fucking ACL again or something. So at that point, it might be just time to hang it up.
What's his name? The guy who was on the Bills for a while.
Not Trey White. Trey White was getting cut the fuck up by the Rams on the Rams last week. Trey White's a starter in this league, by the way. There's a little redacted from me and Jack a couple weeks ago saying Trey White was out of the league. I apologize. I stand corrected. Trey White is one of the starters.
I mean, you would know.
Yeah.
Didn't he retire?
No, you would know because he's getting cut the fuck up every week, dude. Sliced up out there. And every time the fucking commentators calling the game are like, there's Tre'Davious White, former 1st-round pick for the Buffalo Bills, former All-Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen, my man. How the mighty have fallen.
Shouldn't have retired.
So we can get into the Jets, I guess.
The Jets.
The Jets on Thursday night, dominating
Because of
fashion.
rookies, and you won't think about this because we won't think about it like we won't think about Penix for the next 2 years. Jordan Travis is currently sitting, rehabbing, and learning from Aaron Rodgers in the quarterback room. And nobody's going to bring that up, and everyone's going to remember it by the end of the season because something's going to happen where it'll be like, what if we had another quarterback? And then everyone's going to be like, oh, look, this guy's...
No, then it's going to be Ty God, but Jordan Travis will not put a helmet on all year unless nightmares happen.
No.
But that is a good point. That's, you know who does a lot of things that Jaden Daniels does? Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis does a lot of the same things Jaden Daniels does.
He's your 3rd-string quarterback?
He
He's
led
rookie,
the
yeah.
Seminoles to
He
a
was
undefeated season.
He was the Florida State quarterback that fucking broke his leg right before the conference championship game. And then they won the ACC championship game with their backup quarterback and still didn't get a playoff spot because Jordan Travis wasn't playing. He broke his leg in like disgusting fashion. Like was going to slide, snapped it, like foot dangling.
Really?
Yeah. Again though, undersized. He's only about 6'1". Jaden Daniels is about 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". But yeah, they do a lot of the
How
same
tall is
things.
Aaron?
6'3".
The 6'1" quarterback doesn't...
It bothers me a little
It doesn't... I think a 6 foot bothers me. 6'1" doesn't bother me because there's guys who are 6'1" who are successful in the league. There are guys who are short who are successful in the league. Kyler.
Okay, Kyler. Kyler's got wheels.
Yeah.
Kyler's also hurt every year, which is part of my problem.
Well,
with undersized quarterbacks.
don't fucking...
And by the
don't
way,
say anything now, dude.
By the way, get all your money in on the Cardinals now, because Black Ops 6 drops at the end of October.
Don't say that.
And Kyler loves his Call of Duty. So bet on the Cardinals before October 20th when Black Ops 6 comes out.
It's going to be a spooky Halloween for Kyler, dude.
There's a trade in my fantasy league I had to review real quick. I had to review in real time.
That's a good thing that I need to ask. I need to get to advice on. But let's do Jets Giants first,
Okay.
and then I'll ask my fantasy question
So-
because you guys are deeper.
We'll start with the Jets this week. We
We'll go
always
with
start with the
Jets, yeah.
Giants. So,
Yeah,
start
go
with
with
the
the
Jets.
Giants.
The Jets were
That's
one of
what
the
it
only
is.
games you got the chance to sit down and watch this week. So
Oh
you
my
talk first.
God, dude.
You talk first, and then I'll go, and then or Bryan can go, whatever.
Well, do you want to talk about WND or do I want to?
The weapon of mass
The
destruction.
weapon of mass destruction?
Yeah, I mean, I'll personally give a half of an apology because I wasn't necessarily frustrated with the pick because I knew this was going to happen with the DNs leaving and whatever. I didn't know we were going to trade for Reddick and then him not show up.
Crazy.
But immediately a lot of people owe Will McDonald an apology. There's been 3 NFL games played so far. Will McDonald has how many sacks, Bryan?
I have no idea.
4.5.
Damn,
Will
really?
McDonald has 4.5 sacks, including a
Per
strip
game
sack.
or in all
Total,
games?
no,
Total.
total.
All
I
games.
was about to
All
say.
season. 4.5 all the season.
Go ahead. I'll give a half of an apology. I wasn't mad at him. I was mad at the pick at the time, and I was mad at the fact that he showed up again and didn't gain any weight, and we knew he needed to gain weight to be a 3-down player.
And he did.
But he did gain a little bit of weight, but he's doing the job so far. Go ahead.
For me, I don't want to look at it as a personnel issue because I already talked about personnel issues this year with the defensive line not being good enough. One player that we had last year, while the D-line was solid, was a guy who could get to the quarterback, and he was the highest paid undrafted player to ever sign the contract, right? $60 million? Something like
that. Yeah.
Something like $34 million guaranteed. Man's Bryce Huff, okay? And Will McDonald has beautifully stepped inside of that role with a very arguably worse defensive front.
And by the way, P.S. Bryce Huff playing on that Eagles front seven,
Can't do it.
which is the meanest front seven in football, probably, right?
Most unnoticeable
You know
guy
how many
out there.
sacks, pressures, quarterback hits Bryce Huff has so far through 3 games?
1 or 2.
It matches his jersey number.
Oh,
0.
Yeah, I heard
He
that.
has 0 pressure, sacks, or hits so far. So maybe like we always talk about Howie Roseman, just trust him. Trust whatever Howie Roseman does because he's so often right and so not often is he wrong. Maybe start giving Joe Douglas a little bit more credit. He lets this guy walk. He takes the bag, 0 pressures so far. Lets Carl Lawson walk. Carl Lawson gets cut from the Cowboys. Doesn't have a job right now. Gets 2 undrafted rookies that are playing in interior defensive line right now that are playing out of their fucking minds. Continue. Do you have anything else?
You can't look at it now as a personnel issue. It's got to be this regime has to be looked at now because it's not. The questions are, obviously people had questions for the offense. I don't have questions for the offense anymore.
I never have, but yeah.
I don't have any questions about the defense again. Obviously this is a very hard pace to maintain, especially through an NFL season as a guy who's not going to be in every play. But obviously, barring injuries, other obscurities inside the game, it's what you need to plug and play when you have the pieces that you do. Bryce Huff was the piece then, now it's Will McDonald. And if you can keep those guys relatively healthy, there's no reason the Jets should not be talked about as a favorite to win the
I'm gonna
AFC.
say it just one more time. Pay Hassan Reddick, dude. Do whatever needs to be done to pay Hassan
You can
Reddick.
pay Hassan Reddick, but right now this team is not a bad Jet team. It's
while
not a
we're-
bad team in the entire league.
While we're talking about the New York Jets defense, specifically the defensive line, we have a specific someone on that defensive line who gets paid a lot of money. Do you know who I'm talking about? Quinn Williams. Quinn Williams has been getting dragged through the mud a lot through these first 3 weeks. Wait. Quinn Williams has been getting dragged through the mud through these past 3 games. Everyone on the fan, at the fucking construction site, where is this guy? We pay this guy $100 million. He only has 1 sack. This and fucking that, right? Let me finish. Quinn Williams, of pressures, quarterback pressures, hits, sacks, Quinn Williams has 30 so far this year. Do you know where that ranks in the NFL?
I would guess number 1.
3.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's high.
Behind who? T.J. Watt and Mike
Probably
Parsons.
Watt.
TJ Watt. I don't know if it's Parsons, but it is TJ Watt. I don't know if it's Parsons this year because that
Could be
Cowboy-
Hutchinson.
Could be Hutchinson. But yeah, Quinnen is doing what Quinnen needs to do. If you think Quinn Williams isn't playing football, or you think it's a waste of money, or you think he isn't doing what we need him to do on defense, you simply do not know ball. Go ahead and do me a favor, break down some trench tape for me. If you're going to talk shit about my man Q's name, and you're going to say it's a waste of money and he is underperforming, go watch some all-22 trench fucking footage and show me how many plays Quinn Williams isn't eating up double teams.
I was going to say, dude, you were asking where is this guy? He's in the fucking trenches, dude, eating double teams for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, dude. 30 pressure. I haven't seen a snap where I don't think I've seen Quinn Williams not get double teams, or at least checked. The guy, he's got two fucking bear paws on his fucking body, okay? And he's just shoving them in the middle of these average lineman-sized chests, and they're like, we don't know what to do, dude. He's a bulldozer. He moves people. And people don't watch trench footage like that because the first thing I think about, and maybe this is just me, this is going to be a stupid comparison, but you'll see where I'm going with it. You ever be playing Madden? I'm never looking at DBs as much as I'm trying to figure out how much time I've got in the pocket. If I'm playing with a not great offensive line, I'm always looking at the trench. I'm always looking for the hole to open up so I can at least get out of there. Because you need that internal clock. And Quinnen speeds that up. There is no more clock. There's two guys are backing up, so now the pocket's going to shift this way. And however much space he eats up, you have three guys who are, I would consider, all-pro possibilities, trying to go get the quarterback, going one-on-one. That's how I feel about it. It's the perfect defensive front that you can put together. You have one guy who can eat double teams all day. You have 3 to 5 guys you can rotate in on the edge and down low. It's a perfect rotation. And it's going to tire people out. And we see it all the time. And especially non-good coordinated offensive lines.
Solomon Thomas is playing really well. And who's the other? Is Kinlaw on the Niners still, or is Kinlaw on the Jets now?
He might be on the Jets, but I thought there was another guy on the Jets defensive front that was it Michael Clemens I'm thinking of?
Michael Clemens, Jermaine Johnson blew out his Achilles. He's out for the year. But I forget, there's a cast-off from San Fran. I want to say it's Javon Kinlaw, but I don't want to mistake him with the other guy.
I thought Solomon Thomas was from
Solomon Thomas is also from San Fran, but there's another guy on the Jets defensive front that was another San Fran cast-off that's playing very well so far.
It could be Javon.
Regardless, Jets beat the brakes off of the Patriots on Thursday Night Football in prime time. 24-3 is the final score. The defense looked great. The offense looked great. Jets, I think, are the only team to score 3 or more touchdowns in every game so far this year. We love that for a Jets fan base that's been watching dog shit offense for the last 15 years.
It's incredible to have a great offense in an era where offense doesn't look so great right now.
This is the first time that the Jets have beaten the Patriots by at least 3 touchdowns since when?
2010.
Not even close, Brian.
Sorry. My brother texted me and said, I think Juno's out. She's not. What was the question?
This is Thursday night was the first time the Jets beat the Patriots by 3 touchdowns or more since when?
Oh, God. I would have to guess the 90s before Tom Brady got there.
I would like to guess.
You already guessed, but go ahead.
60s.
No. Brian was closer.
I would say Brady got drafted in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
96.
It was the year 2000.
It was the year 2000.
The year 2000, Bill Belichick's rookie year, was the last time the Jets beat the Patriots by 3 scores or more. Thursday night was also the first time that the Jets were favorites against the Patriots, I believe, in the same amount of time.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Gambling favorites. No, it wasn't that much time, but it was the first time in 15 matchups that the Jets were gambling favorites against the Patriots, so that's almost 8 years. So not quite as long. But yeah, I know the Patriots suck. I know they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. I know they're talentless. I know that everyone got really excited about them the way they came out and played the first 2 weeks, and they beat Cincy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they played Cleveland in week 2.
Seahawks.
And they just lost the game against the Seahawks.
Overtime. Yeah.
And it looks like a team of dogs on defense, and Gerard Mayo is a great coach, and all those things are true. But everyone loved the Patriots and thought, oh, hold on, wait a second, they might not be the worst team in the football. And then the Jets dog-walked them on primetime on Thursday Night Football, and everyone wants to clown the Jets fans. Like, oh, congratulations, you beat up one of the worst teams in football. I know they're one of the worst teams in football. They're also one of the worst nightmares in my head when I'm trying to sleep at night. And I'm trying to have a peaceful fucking night. I just see goddamn Belichick with his bullshit cut-off hoodie and the Patriots running the score up 48-3 on primetime. So I don't care who's running the ship. 3 touchdowns is 3 touchdowns. It's enough to feel good about. I'm not buying my flights to the Super Bowl. Don't fucking come down my throat because we're celebrating a good win. It was a good win. We're on to Denver. We need to beat Denver and because it's going to get difficult the next 3 weeks after this.
I thought. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
Go ahead.
No,
I was gonna segue to the Giants.
I was just gonna put a quick clip in. I thought the Jets were, like I said to you when we were texting that night, the Jets looked exactly like how we thought they would. They're not going to be world beaters. They're not going to be the worst team on the field. They're not going to be the worst team in the league. They're going to be right where in the middle. They'll probably finish, I would think, probably like 10 or 11 wins. They'll have to grind out a couple, and they'll probably catch a wild card spot. Or if they get lucky, somehow maybe they beat Buffalo and they can get into the division. But
we'll see what Buffalo's about on October 14th.
Is that when they verse?
Monday Night Football
Yeah.
at GetLife Stadium. They're wearing the white helmets with the jerseys we grew up with.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought the defense looked fine, like you said, against a talentless, New England roster. But it was kind of a mild get right game after the first 2 weeks. I feel like for the Jets, not that they looked bad, but kind of felt like everyone still had their expectations set to where they were last year. And I think what you saw on Thursday probably would have been how it would have been last year if Rodgers didn't get hurt. Just playing decent football. Not fucking blowing the lights or the doors off anyone. Just, controlling the game and looking like a functional football team. More so than the Giants, even though they did win this week. Go ahead. Catch your transition. I don't know if you had thoughts.
G-Man. Little surprised by the result of the game.
Me too.
Not surprised by Deshaun Watson's lack of ability to play football or this Cleveland Browns team's lack of an ability to score points. And it's all centered around Deshaun Watson. I mean, the Giants come out in typical Giants fashion. They fumble the opening kickoff, and they're down by 11 seconds into the game, and we all thought, here we go, it's Giants football.
Right.
But they really gutted it out on defense, and, I got to tell you, man, I said it on draft night. I've said it throughout the summer. I think Leak is going to fuck around and save Daniel Jones' job. I think Malik.
Yeah,
I think Leak Neighbors is gonna fuck around and buy Daniel Jones one more year. I really do.
I think so too.
Daniel Jones didn't look like the same quarterback on Sunday.
No,
he's like, and I saw a TikTok, and I wish I could fucking shout out the guy who I saw who made the TikTok. He said, I don't think there's ever been a harder player to figure out than Daniel Jones.
I mean, yeah.
Some days you watch him and you're like, this guy sucks, and then you watch him on Sunday and you're like, yo, Daniel Jones can do some things. He's got a little Cam Newton in him. He's got a little Josh Allen in him.
Very weird.
Like, DJ can do some things, and even if it doesn't work out in the Giants, make no mistake, he'll be around in the league for a while as one of these Sam Darnold types, one of these Gardner Minshew types. He's gonna be a guy. If you could get him for $7 million and you have maybe we have a project quarterback, or we're gonna draft a kid and we want him to step for a little bit. Daniel Jones is gonna be around for a while, whether it's in New York or not. And I really do. My great concern now is that they could still even have a top 3 draft pick, and Daniel Jones' job might be saved for another year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be. It's not the greatest result that I would want, to be honest with you.
So it's not something fans want to hear. It's definitely not something fans in New York of all sports media want to hear. But there's a lot of people that think the Maras and the Tishes might have grand plans for Arch Manning in 2026 or 2027.
I mean, it makes sense if you think about it.
You're going to sit around till... he said he wants to stay for 3 more years. You're going to sit around till 2027.
I mean...
And Arch needs to grow because, he looks great. Ball's good. 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's not his uncles. They're both 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah.
He needs to grow a little bit, but I don't know if you saw last weekend, Quinn Ewers got hurt. Arch comes in the game. First play, touchdown pass. Next drive, second play, handoff. Third play, read option, takes it, explodes 67 yards.
Yeah, I saw it.
He hit a top speed on that run, faster than Tyreek Hill has ran all year so far.
Yeah. But
Giants defense.
Yeah.
Good. The Giants defense looked really good.
Yeah.
It was a gritty Giants defensive win. Kayvon Thibodeau getting involved. Brian Burns with a strip sack. Yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau finally making waves in the media. That isn't him talking shit to the media or fans, because I know he's really starting to rub a lot of fans the wrong way, the way he's constantly a douchebag in the media. Hey, Kayvon, that's fine. You want to be loud? This is New York. We like loud personalities. Be loud on the field, too. He's finally kind of starting to come on a little bit. You've got to be annoyed as a Giants fan watching a couple of things, though. Leonard Williams leads the league in quarterback hits right now. Saquon Barkley, obviously, is doing what he's doing. And then there's one other player that they recently let go that's also top 3 statistically in their category right now that were all Giants last year that all no longer are.
Yeah.
But I think, Singletary, not that far of a drop-off.
No.
Devin Singletary.
He looks really good.
And I didn't think he would be. He has not been that far of a drop-off from Saquon.
No,
he's not bad.
He's
just not a superstar.
Right. He's not as dynamic as Saquon.
Never missed a game.
Yeah. He's
crazy.
He's not as dynamic, but as far as statistical and production drop-off, not much of a difference from Saquon Barkley last year. The Hyatt thing concerns me.
Well, hold
Jay-
on.
Jalen Hyatt-
I'm unfamiliar with.
I'm unfamiliar with
Jalen
this
Hyatt
team.
asked to get traded.
Did he
He's
really?
like 4th or 5th on the depth chart. They can't get him on the field. He's not really working in and out. They're still running with Malik Neighbors, and Shepard's still on the
Robinson.
team, right? And
No,
Wandale.
No,
it's
Darius Slayton.
It's
Slayton.
League Neighbors, Darius Slayton,
And Wandale.
and Wandale.
Yeah.
And
And
then
Wandale doesn't work in
Bellinger
the
got
slot.
hurt.
Yeah, no, they're
Well,
starting the
Bellinger's
rookie
out there.
over him.
I thought Bellinger got hurt.
They're
in camp.
starting Theo Johnson.
Theo Johnson, yeah. So ultimately, like, look, it's not going to be a great year for the Giants still, but my 2 big takeaways is the defense is better than we expected it to be. Dable ain't going anywhere, no matter what. Dable ain't going anywhere, and I think start really getting concerned about the idea of Daniel Jones being the starting quarterback in 2025.
Yeah.
Flip it around real quick. Do you think there's any way that the Cleveland Brown organization is fucking combing through everything, hiring ex-CIA agents, getting the FBI involved, trying to find a way to link Deshaun Watson to Diddy? So that way they
Oh my god, I didn't even think
That's
of that.
horrendous, dude. Oh my
no,
god.
I mean,
Because I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but they recently got like new verbiage put in his contract that basically they could get off scot-free if he gets in trouble with the law.
yeah,
again.
no, I knew about that. I mean, I would.
That's
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that thought's
I was gonna
gone
say.
through their head. I don't know if necessarily linking to Diddy, but I do think when 2 weeks ago they had that civil suit come out, from I guess another person came out last. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. They were probably like, "Ooh, this might be the one," but never heard about anything after that. So I'm assuming it probably nothing ever happened.
Yeah, I heard that there was a
Um,
lawsuit, but that. Kind
But
of
no,
stuff.
I mean, we said it on here before. I'm sure they are.
I will say, I
If-
am looking forward to the headline now.
If nothing else crazy happens, it's probably going to be considered the worst trade in sports history. Like,
It's already up there, but I mean, so is fucking Bryce Young. It's going to be hard to rival Bryce Young. We went over that last week. It was ultimately
yeah, I mean,
DJ Moore, the pick that got Caleb Williams, the pick that got Tyreek Stevenson, the cornerback. Like we went over it last week. All of the things that they gave up for Bryce Young to have
Right.
given up on him after 18 games. If he never starts again for Carolina, it's going to be hard to beat that as one of the worst trades ever.
true.
I lost my train of thought. God damn it. Oh, do you think if that were the headlines? Now I'm actually hoping it happens. I'm not hoping it for Deshaun Watson's sake. I'm hoping to open my phone on a Thursday morning before Thursday night football or a Sunday morning before Sunday football, and I'm hoping this headline reads, Deshaun Watson will not play today
Deshaun
in connection
Watson.
to Sean P. Diddy.
Deshaun Watson, lead star of Diddy's freak-offs.
Oh, God.
So speaking of Deshaun Watson and Cleveland Browns, this is going to be my last around the league point, and then we'll get some lines. Miami.
Oh.
The Miami Dolphins. Miami, who everyone considers this powerhouse offensively. Everyone considers them to be such a good team. I'm not saying Mike McDaniel's not a good coach. I believe Mike McDaniel is a good coach. Mentally, schematically, for the players. A guy I'd love to have coaching my team, just the way he handles everything. Seems like he really cares about his guys. Good friends with Dan Soder, who I fuck with as a comedian. I don't think this Miami Dolphin team has ever been that good under McDaniel with this current team that's going on here. If you look at their record against teams above 500 is it's like 1-2.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number, but it's like 6-12 or something like that.
That was the argument last year too, that their schedule was just so
Yeah.
easy, and it was.
But you look at them playing above 500 teams, and they're bad. They're not good against winning teams.
yeah.
That's not my point, though. My point is, obviously, we don't know what Tua. My opinion is he should be done for the year. He should probably retire, but that's not either here nor there. I'm not a medical professional. I have no connection to Tua. I just hope that he's able to remember his first dance with his wife and playing ball with his kids, things that really matter. Like McDaniel told him when he carried him off the field, you're the starting quarterback of your family first. Skylar Thompson, 1, looks like shit.
Yeah. Terrible.
2, got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Skylar Thompson got hurt, and now they don't know if he's going to be available. We now go to
Tim
Boyle, who, by the way,
And-
Dolphins fans were really laughing their ass off last year when the Jets threw Tim Boyle out against him, and he threw a pick 6 at the end of halftime. They're like, oh, the Jets have Tim Boyle playing quarterback for him. Now you get to enjoy the Tim Boyle
Hold on
experience.
though.
Yes, they have
one
Ty.
other guy.
They have Ty Huntley waiting in the wings on the practice squad, who may or may not be activated
Just signed
this
him.
week.
Why is he not the guy right
He
now?
may or may not. Well, he just came in. You got to learn. McDaniel's another one of these guys with these wordy schemes. You know.
All I know
and
is
this and
we saw him step in for Lamar at the end of that 1 year. I think it was 2 years ago.
Looked good.
And he looked pretty good. Better. All right, sorry.
He did
stepping
look,
on your point.
Let me finish. He did look good, and that's a fine option. There's a reason that I linked this to the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
No.
Call them
For
What?
Deshaun?
for Jameis Winston.
Yo!
What do you
There's
want
Nothing.
for Jameis Winston?
My fantasy team would want more than Jameis Winston, and Tyreek Hill on the
Dude.
same field.
If Jameis Winston came in and was starting games by week 6, 30 and 30 is probably out the window, but he can still get you 20 and 20.
Right? Yeah.
He can still get you 20 touchdowns and 20 interceptions, and the most electrifying man in sports is back in the starting
You know
role.
what's so funny?
Because if Cleveland's not going to abandon ship on Deshaun Watson and give Jameis Winston the fucking sticks, someone get them. Someone who needs a quarterback, get this man. Did you see, I think I sent it to you, who is it? Jerome Ford, what Jerome Ford said again about Jameis Winston?
No.
He said Jameis Winston calls plays in the huddle like he has a surprise to tell you.
Oh, yeah. That said me that.
Which I just thought was incredible. I love Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I want to be his friend, dude. I want Jameis Winston to come on this podcast and hang out with us. I love
said
that
the
guy.
same thing last week to Jesse. I was like, why not just fucking put in Jameis at this point? Like, and I said, quote, word for word, he'll probably get you 30 for 30. If not at this point, it'll be 20 for 20, but it'll look way better than how it doesn't make any sense.
At least it's exciting.
Right.
Name another quarterback the minute the ball gets snapped that the offensive guard might touch the ball. On any given snap, there is not another quarterback that involves 21 guys every time he snaps the ball. Anyone can touch it. Defensive tackle, guard, fucking the receiver, a safety, the ball boy. Anyone could touch the ball when Jameis Winston's in. And if Cleveland isn't going to pull the plug soon, they still have DTR, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
Get whatever you can get. Get a 6th that could become a 4th. Get a 5th that could become a 3rd. Because if I'm Miami, I'm looking to make a move here.
Right.
I don't know how long I'm going to sit on Tim Boyle and Ty Huntley.
I think
if
I'm
we have
calling
playoff aspirations.
Carolina, dude. I
For
think I'm
Bryce?
calling
No,
for
you still
Bryce.
got Tua there.
No, you want an established player. Bryce Young is a reclamation project. Bryce Young makes sense for the Giants, the Jets, a team like
Yeah, I got, so you can
the
film
Rams,
them.
perhaps. Like he makes sense for a team that doesn't need him to come in right away. Bryce Young should not play another game for the rest of the year, barring injury to Andy Dalton. And I'm not saying he's done. Like Baker Mayfield said it, his career is far from over. Look at Baker, Geno, and Sam Darnold, and that's enough to believe that Bryce isn't done in the league.
No.
I don't think he should start another game this year unless he absolutely has to. The way Zach Wilson shouldn't have played a game all year last year, and they had no choice but to do it because the Jets are a terrible
He's
organization.
also in a horrendous situation in Carolina.
Yeah, but then Dalton shows up and looks like God's gift to quarterbacking on
Right,
Sunday.
yeah.
I know you didn't watch any football. Andy Dalton looked like fucking
He looked
20.
really
He looked like
good.
2011 Aaron Rodgers out there, slicing the Raiders up, dude. Yeah, I think Miami get Jameis Winston in the fucking locker room yesterday. Like I don't understand, but we can guess lines now. I think, right? Anything else?
Like he has
No,
a surprise to tell you.
Like I said, there's nothing my fantasy team would love more than Tyreek Hill will be catching passes from James.
I need a scoreboard here.
I just think it's sensational that I just want to know what it's like to be Jameis Winston. Is he sitting there just like, all right, guys,
He's a millionaire that
Spider
loves
Banana.
life.
Yeah.
Spider 2 wide.
Real
bananas.
quick,
Spider-
if you guys haven't seen it, you should. The 30 for 30 on Jameis Winston.
Really?
Wait,
I don't
what?
know if it might not have been a 30 for 30. Someone did a Jameis Winston documentary where he talked about his life and everything like that. And I gotta tell you, man, like it makes you like him even more. He,
Crowd legs and all.
yeah, he was, took him back to like his old house, wherever he was from. They were dirt poor. He's like, I lived in this house with 17 of my cousins. We slept on the floor. Like, it's a complete, like, rag to riches story.
It's like Mike Evans living out of a car. Like,
yeah, it's, damn, I'll never find it. It was such a good
I'll
little
look it up.
documentary.
I'm
Yeah.
sure Jameis Doc will be enough. All right, someone have the lines out, Jack?
I
you got it?
do.
Nice.
All right, Thursday Night Football. Dallas Cowboys at New York Giants. I got Dallas laying 8.5 in this game.
Brian.
I have Dallas -5.
I have Dallas -4, and it's Dallas -6.
Bryan continuing his role from last week.
I stopped doing half points, so I changed the game.
Cincinnati at Carolina. I may have went too low on this one because they're on the road and because I think they're cooked this year, but I mean 0-3 basically is cooked. I have Cincinnati -2.5. Recency bias coming into play here.
I have a -7.
I have the Bengals -5, and it is the Bengals -4.
Yeah, nice.
So I'm on the board this week.
Jack got shut out last week. Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, dude, it was
geez.
bad.
Because I hit 4 or 5 bing bongs, and you hit like so many that you got a half point away from.
That's what, dude. I'm telling you. Once I started putting full numbers, it changed the fucking.
If I
game.
didn't hit bing bongs, you would have smoked everybody. But I just, I don't know. I had a good feel for it. Problem is, when I have a good feel for the lines, I usually gamble like shit.
Right.
I do better when I'm so far off from the line. New Orleans at Atlanta. Dirty Birds -2.5.
-3.5.
I had New Orleans from recency bias at 4.5.
That's bad recency. bias.
Yeah.
But it's Atlanta -2.5.
Bing
Nice.
bong,
Good
baby.
call.
You got a 3-point shooter from downtown over here.
Dion Waiters have guessed the lines. Jacksonville at Houston. Houston -3.5. This one could be higher, but I just feel like they haven't been playing good either. Just because Jacksonville got dog walked on Monday night, Houston hasn't been playing great either.
I took Houston 7.5.
I took Houston by 3, and it's 6.5. Why did you think it was so high? What was the thought on that?
Because I think everyone in the United States watched Jacksonville get completely fucking shellacked on primetime, and
That
I think
would
that
make
weighs
sense,
a lot in the gambling.
Denver Broncos at New York Jets coming to JetLife Stadium. Live and in living color, the Jets are an entire even touchdown favorite in this game, -7.
I got a -5.
I have a -5.5, and it is 7.5.
Damn,
son.
Good call.
How good does that feel to hear that the Jets are
2 weeks in a row, the
touchdown?
Jets are a touchdown favorite. I don't know if it's ever
7.5.
happened in my life.
This one was annoying.
Minnesota at Green Bay. This one was annoying. I have Green Bay -2, strictly because they're home and there's been almost no drop-off with Malik Willis. Has the style of play been different? Absolutely. Has there been any offensive production drop-off? Not in my opinion. Green Bay -2.
I have Minnesota -1.
I had Minnesota -2, and it's Green Bay -2.5.
Wow. God damn. I figured they would have gave it to Minnesota being on a run.
Pittsburgh Steelers at Indianapolis.
This one was tough.
I've been saying this all week. All week, all season, all year last year, throughout the off season, because of the lack of fucking actual tape, the lack of what we've seen. I think a lot of people are confused about Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is an accident waiting to happen. He proved that last week. He consistently proves that every time he's on the field. The larger the sample size gets, the more of a fucking accident waiting to happen you will all come to see that he is. I know he makes crazy throws. I know he's got wheels. He's had 17 starts since now it's 19 starts since he left high school. All of college and a year and a half in the NFL. 19 starts. Pitt -1.5.
I got a -2.
I had the game at a pick'em because last week Indianapolis got some bad disrespect against the Bears. They were only 1.5 point favorites, and as the game panned out, what was the spread? What was like the finishing spread?
remember.
It was above a field goal. I remember. But my point being, I left the game at a pick'em because I didn't know how Pittsburgh was grading out really after last week, and I knew the Colts were getting disrespect. But the spread is 1.5 in the Steelers' favor on the road.
Dude.
I mean, 3's a streak, bro.
It means I'm going to get crushed gambling this weekend. Los Angeles Rams at Chicago. Rams are going to be an undervalued team going forward as long as their top 3 weapons are not around. Chicago's dog shit, though. I got the Rams -3.
I got a -3.5.
I had -1, and no, the spread's -3 in Chicago's favor.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I guess
the
I'll
book
give
knows
Jack-
something we
I'll give
don't.
Jack a sympathy point there.
What's the score?
2-2-6. 6 for me, 2 apiece for you and Brian.
All right, Brian, it's a game.
Philadelphia Eagles at Tampa Bay. I have Philly -2.5.
I got a -4.
I had Philly -2. And it's a bing bong for me at Philly -2.
Damn.
Wow, good for you.
My first bing bong of the season.
Jack's
and
within
I
striking distance for the first time since week 1.
I feel so excited to stare at the sheet. No, I got a bing bong.
New England Patriots at San Fran. San Fran -9.5.
I got a -9.
I had -6. I went too low. It's 10.5.
Whoa, my
Oh,
God.
yeah. I was
That's
going to
a
put
lot.
10, but I thought it was a little early in the year for a double.
Dude,
digit
I feel
spread.
like the book's just a little. It reacts a little too hard.
I think they got taken really hard on last week's game, and
Probably.
they're like, we are not going to allow people to get us on this one.
That is true.
Washington at Arizona. I have the C words -3.5.
I have the -1.
You have the Commanders both. You have the Commanders
Yeah.
both favored. I have the Cardinals -5, and the Cardinals are 3.5.
Wow.
All right, good for you.
I wasn't sure about that one.
At home for the aren't the Cardinals 3-0?
2-1, I think.
2-1? Would you say that's still one of the better teams
Sorry,
in the
guys, I
league
just
at
let
this
some
point?
poison out. And I've been eating a lot
You
of Taco
fucking
Bell
dirty
lately.
animal, dude. Telling me about how I'm sneezing at the beginning of the podcast. You're just gonna fucking sit there,
No, it didn't
let
affect.
that shit marinate in the chair,
Dog, it didn't
in the
affect any of the
fucking
viewers.
enclosed.
My fart didn't affect any of the viewers.
It
I was just-
affects me and Bryan,
I
dude.
could have
Have some
not said
courtesy,
anything.
dude.
I could have not said anything. I
It's the
let
most
you know that is the
uncourteous thing
courtesy.
ever.
That is the courtesy, dude. Kansas City at the Los Angeles Chargers. I got Kansas City -6.5.
Same.
I had Kansas City 4.5, and the spread is 7.5.
We both get a point. No one gets a point, Brian. I don't care how you want to do it.
Give me the point.
All right.
I'm still battling, Jack.
That's true. There's 4 games left. I have 8. Brian has 3. Jack has 5. So it's still anyone's
Nice.
fucking game here.
That's a big one.
Cleveland Browns at Las Vegas. I really hope if you're a Jets fan, start betting and rooting against the Vegas Raiders every week, because the worse it gets, the more likely it is Devontae Adams is a New York Jet by Halloween. I have Cleveland -1.5.
I had Cleveland -3,
I have Vegas -2.5.
and it's Vegas -2. So Brian's picking that one off.
Let's go, Brian. Buffalo Bills. Is this Sunday Night Football, or there's only 2 primetime games?
There better not be 2 Monday night games again.
There's maybe not this week, but next week. There's another
Can we
game.
stop with that?
Is that next week or this week? Can we?
I'll find out?
This is either a 4:25 game or a Sunday Night Football game, and then these other 2 games are both on Monday.
We're back
This
at it
one's
again. with the
Sunday
2 Monday night
8:15,
games.
and we have 2 Monday night
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. That's
Which
the
are-
fucking worst, honestly.
Dude, I'm feeling the 2 Monday night games.
I don't-
watch both of them.
I don't mind the 2 Monday night games. Back in the day when they used to do, the first one starts at like 6:30, and
Right.
the second one starts at 9:45, and then you could watch both.
Right.
Especially when they were doing it when we were in high school and college, when I could watch a game that starts at
Right.
10 and watch it till 1 in the morning, and then not give a fuck in the morning. I was upset for a long time. I had a 2 TV setup when I still lived here at the house, and that would be prime. And I came by to take care of the dog on Monday night. I should have brought my other TV back with me. But Jacksonville turned out into a blowout,
Yeah.
so it made it easy for me to just watch the Washington game. So anywho, Sunday Night Football, Buffalo at Baltimore. I have the world-beating Buffalo Bills -4.5.
Brian, please go
I
ahead.
have Baltimore -4.5.
I have Baltimore -1.5, and the spread is Baltimore -2.5.
That's Jack.
Jack.
So now a bing bong is striking
A
distance.
bing bong ties you.
A bing bong ties me, and still technically striking distance for a tie. A point gets me striking distance for a bing bong, but a bing bong here ties for the game.
A bing bong will tie you.
Okay.
Two straight wins will tie you, and then we go to an over/under. Brian can still catch you for second. I think I'm out of range for Brian.
Okie doke.
Tennessee Titans at Miami Dolphins. I probably went too low here, but it is what it is. I have Tennessee -2.5.
I have the -1.
I have Tennessee -2, and it's Miami -1.
Damn.
All right, Jack.
I went the lowest?
No, I went the lowest. I have
Oh.
-1.
I'm
I was
sorry.
going to say.
But I didn't have the
wait.
right team. I had Tennessee -1.
I had Tennessee -2.
And it was Miami -1.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so I'll give Brian a point.
Yeah.
All right, here it is, Jack. A bing bong to tie it.
Let's see.
Well, I can't tie it, so
Yeah.
Why you were
it's literally on
Jack
my
already
phone
knows.
and it's in my hand.
All right.
All right, well, it's Seattle at Detroit. I have Detroit -3.
I got a -6.
I had Detroit -5.5. The spread is 3.5.
Wow.
Bang.
A close game.
So final score is 9 for me, 5 for Bryan, 6 for Jack.
Wow.
So it's literally those bing bongs is what fucking set that. The bing bongs are the difference because I think I had 3 bing bongs
Yeah.
again.
I had
So
one.
that's 6 points. So 9 minus 6 is fucking 3. Without the fucking bing bongs, I'm in last place. Even if you slice it in half, 6 to 6 to 5. If I don't have the bing bongs, so
See,
that's about as close as it gets.
I don't fucking understand. When I don't watch the games, I get a better feel for the spread. But when I do watch the games, I'm so far off.
Well, that's because especially, let me get this mic back in my face. That's because especially earlier in the year, the general public, now I'm not calling you a casual, but I'm kind of calling you a casual, I guess. I don't know.
Doesn't really bother me.
It takes a lot of time to look, anybody who claims they have an edge on Vegas is full of shit. All of these people who are selling their programs and selling their locks are full of shit. Okay? I've never asked for $1 for my picks. I never would, even if I got big. Because for me to sit here and tell you I know something you don't is stupid. Sportsbooks win. Vegas wins. They're set up to win. Nobody goes into business to give away money. They have the edge every time, no matter what. But the longer you do it and pay attention to it, you can kind of get a feel for what Vegas wants to do. My point that I'm making with more casuals, or not even a casual, like you could be a diehard football fan, but if you don't give a fuck about gambling, you're not paying attention to the spreads. For the first 15 years I watched football, probably, I didn't give a fuck what the spread was.
Yeah.
People get the recency bias, and they say, oh, Buffalo just dog walked Jacksonville. They've got to be huge favorites coming into next week. Vegas doesn't overreact like that, especially early in the year. The first 3 to 6 games of the year, they're not going to let what happened in the last 2 weeks affect where they feel the line should be.
Yeah.
You know? So that's when you're not watching the game, you're not being affected by what you saw happen 5 days ago on Sunday. You know, so that was the point that I was making. Thursday Night Football?
Thursday night football.
Real fucking matchup here.
Them boys against them Giants.
A real get-right game for the boys.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the one.
What was the finals for the boys?
Oh, I thought you were talking about for the G-men.
No, for the boys. It's a get-right game for the boys. What do we got? All right, so after Guess the Lines last week, we did the Thursday night segment, which was the Jet game. And I sat here and I said, what's the over-under in that game? 38.5. And that was exactly what it was.
Really?
So I'm going to try again.
Oh, I got it right here.
Am I wrong if it starts with a 4?
No.
42.5.
Nope.
Lower or higher?
Higher.
48.5?
No.
Nope.
46.
You're going still past.
47.5?
You're still past it.
Oh, it's lower.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? 44
45.
45? All right.
Which honestly higher than I thought.
What did the spread close here?
Spread, we
6.
got -6.
Well, after watching Dallas's dog shit defense the last couple of weeks, I would raise that over under too a little bit. You know, the Giants have proved they can score points. They scored 3 touchdowns in 2 consecutive games now, so that the Giants have proved they can score the ball.
And lost one of them.
And
Didn't let the other team score.
Yeah.
Scored 3 touchdowns, let up 0 touchdowns, still lost to Washington. That's devastating, you know, but that's one you watch the film, then you bury the film, and you move on. So it's 6 or 6.5. It's 6?
Mm-hmm.
6?
6.
Spread 6. This is in Jerry World, or this is in Jet Life?
I think it's in Jerry. No, this is in Jet.
This is in Jet Life Stadium, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, can I say something dumb?
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and select the New York Giants to not cover, but to win this game outright. What's the money line odds on that? 225?
210.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to select the New York Giants to win this game outright in a game that probably goes under.
2 dysfunctional offenses trying to get stuff
I think
done.
the Giants defense is going to be able to frustrate Dak enough, and the Cowboys defense is dog shit. They're an absolute turnstile at every position. There are 10 spots on the field that could be upgraded. The only one is Michael Parsons. All other 10 guys could go through 3 games. Not a single one of them has done. I mean, Trey Diggs, we already knew this about Trey Diggs. The only reason the interception numbers are so high is because he gets the ball thrown at him a lot.
Right.
And when you have the high interception number, people tend to not really care about the touchdowns given up number or the yards allowed number. I think if we get the Daniel Jones and the New York Giants that we saw on Sunday, I think they win by 2 scores. I think they win by fucking.
I mean,
by
it's an
9
interesting
points.
point to make because Cleveland's defense is no joke.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. What scares me is I feel like most of the time the Giants are taking on the Cowboys in prime time, they're getting completely shellacked. And I only say that because last season they were the opening game on Sunday Night Football and they got trounced.
It's not the same team though, Brian. It's not the same team.
I know.
Number one is a difference maker. I watched him make that fucking catch where he did like the pirouette in the air.
Yeah.
And somehow got the second foot down right before he put his hand down out of bounds. And I looked at Alessino. I said, "You guys got another one."
Yeah, I mean,
you got another one. There's always one. The Giants used to be known for bone crushing defense and running the fucking football. And this new modern age of fan, like Jack's age, the Giants are known for superstar prima donna wide receivers.
Yeah, I mean,
and you got another one. You got another one in Malik Neighbors, and I believe he is good enough to bring out the best, of the entire offense. If Daniel Jones does not make more than one critical mistake, they win this football game.
Plus 110 on Malik Neighbors anytime.
Crazy.
Not bad.
Crazy that it's just around even money.
Devin Singletary is minus 105.
That makes sense. Most running backs are.
I mean,
see,
what's
go ahead,
Daniel
Brian.
Jones as a ball carrier?
Rushing or
Rushing?
touchdown?
As a ball carrier, anytime touchdown.
Plus 240.
I'll take one of them.
Yeah.
I'll take a Daniel Jones anytime touchdown. I'll take the Giants money line. And probably the under.
Wandale Robinson plus 360.
I love that. I
That's
love that
interesting.
more than I love Daniel Jones.
Yeah,
actually.
that's
You
interesting.
see, you guys are talking about touchdowns. I've not been having great luck in the beginning of the season here. I haven't really had too many bets fall my way. I just got to see one go in this week, and the over/under for Malik Neighbors receptions is 6.5. He had 12 targets last week. I feel pretty okay
He's going to
with
keep
just
getting
over.
12 targets.
Yeah, but I need to see something go in, and at plus 105, the over on some receptions is okay to me. But then we could be seeing 5 receptions for 120 and 2 touchdowns. But, I got to see something
I don't
go
think
in.
that's likely. I don't think 5 receptions matches the rest of that stat line for a week. I think it does for like Jameson Williams type. I don't think Leak's that kind of player.
Yeah. I also, my concern with this game is CeeDee Lamb hasn't really been CeeDee Lamb. And I just feel like this might be the week where he's like, all right, I'm about to drop 120 yards.
I don't think it's a CeeDee Lamb problem.
You think it's a Dak problem?
I think it's a Dallas Cowboy problem. I think it's a Jerry Jones problem. I think it's a Mike McCarthy problem. I don't necessarily know that I want to say that it's a Dak problem, but I will say this. I think they paid him prematurely.
You think so?
Dak's not the kind of guy that wasn't going to play if you didn't pay him.
Right.
Why not make him go earn it?
Yeah.
Especially when there's a guy like, look, McCarthy is probably going to survive the year because Jerry Jones is a lot of things. He's not a guy that's going to fire the coach in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
He's just not one of those kinds of people.
But he was in the hot seat last year, too.
Yeah, and the fact that he was given one more year, I do not expect McCarthy to get trounced at the end of the year. But during the year, if this keeps trending the way that it is trending, and it looks worse, not better, now you just paid Dak all this money, which isn't a complete albatross. We've seen things get done before with albatross contracts in the NFL and in the NBA. You got a potential package deal coming out of college this year that should pitch a tent in Jerry Jones's pants.
Right.
Deion Sanders and Shadur Sanders should. That's the kind of move that makes Jerry Jones hard at 80-something years old. That's no Viagra, no Cialis. That man will have a full-blown hard dick for the idea of having Deion Sanders come back with his son as the starting quarterback. And I just feel like it was a very odd timing to give Dak the money. I mean, obviously I don't blame Dak for taking it, but like, are there many better jobs in sports than being the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback? In America?
Probably not.
I don't think Dak was going to not play if you didn't pay him.
Right.
I really don't think so. So, it was interesting. But, no, I think this is a season from hell from Dallas. And look, you want to talk yourself into, it was exciting. You could convince yourself that they scored 19 points in the last 8 minutes of the game. You didn't watch any football, Jack. Cowboys were getting the doors blown off of them 28-6 with about 10.5 minutes left in the game. Final score 28-25. But, there's an outlier there. They kicked an onside kick the Ravens touched it in front of 10 yards, and then the Cowboys were able to recover it before it passed 10 yards, and that's how they got the ball back. And then they tried another onside kick, and they weren't. You're never going to hit 2 in one game. It's never going to happen.
When I was at work, I looked over at the TV, and the Dallas game was on, to my surprise. And I looked over, and I was like, wow, Baltimore's really kicking their ass.
Yeah.
And then I said that to my boss. And then I went back to doing my job. And then while I was doing my job, and it calmed down for a little bit, I was looking at the POS, and then I looked over at the TV because I had a minute to breathe, and I saw that, what's his name, caught a touchdown. Kevontae Turpin caught a touchdown. And then my immediate second thought was, well, Dallas lost this game. So...
Yeah, because I needed CeeDee Lamb to score.
Anytime Kevontae Turpin scores a touchdown, the Dallas Cowboys do not win the game.
He's getting a ton of looks. Brandon Cooks is getting a ton of looks. The tight end is getting a ton of looks. CeeDee Lamb, maybe he's getting the Garrett Wilson treatment where they're just not allowing the man to play football. But where in the world is CeeDee Lamb?
Right.
Rico Dowdle is lining up in the slot and catching more balls than CeeDee Lamb. Ezekiel Elliott looks fat and slow.
As always, dude.
My final thoughts on the Thursday night game, I'm going to ask one of you to throw this together for the odds. I'm not going to throw the under, and I don't want to get crazy. Let's get a little crazy, but not real crazy. Giants money line. Wandale anytime touchdown. That should compound at around between +7 and 900.
I have it up. You're taking Wandale anytime?
Wandale anytime parlayed with the Giants money line. Show me +950.
+1,000.
Am I not all right at this?
+1,000.
Am I not all right at this, dude? All right, that's my Thursday night parlay. Giants money line. Wandale Robinson anytime touchdown. That's going to give you +1,000, 10-1 odds. I mean, look, 10-1 odds classifies as a lottery ticket, but that's a lottery ticket I'm willing to place. You don't want to be crazy. Just slightly better than 2-1 odds. I do believe the G-men walk out of this game with not only with a win, but all of a sudden by Sunday morning, we're talking about maybe Dimes is all right. Maybe Dimes is the guy. And a lot of these people that were lighting their jerseys on fire might.
Well, that's a little crazy.
They might start to feel dumb.
Well,
so that's my final thoughts. Turn it over to you guys.
My bet is the receptions on Malik Neighbors. Sometimes you just got to see one go in before the weekend comes around. And holy fuck, do I want to see one go in. I'm sick of seeing them rim in and out, dude. I'm sick of seeing some silly free throws, okay? I've had enough. That being said, there will be a BDSOW this week.
Well, that's on Thursday or on Friday morning.
Well, you know, it's Wednesday. You got to see one go in first.
I know. Brian?
I'm just gonna take Giants +6 separate, and I'll probably tell you on the Wandale because it just seems +360 seems.
+6 feels like a lock. Nothing
Yeah,
I've seen.
I'm gonna take
Nothing I've
+6.
seen from the Cowboys over the first 3 games shows me they can beat anybody by over a touchdown. So, I know I've said a lot of shit about the Giants being awful this year. I think the Cowboys might be just as bad with way more talent. We're brought to you by House of Avid Podcasting, Stay Thirsty Company, Justin Shop Shop of West Hampton Beach, and now including the new location in Mauritius, and Dino Skate Park. Peace out.
Stay tuned.